How do you define sustainable landscaping? And there is going to be a presentation with this, so I'm just going to go make sure that works.
Okay, so I don't want to take too much time here, but I think it's really good to show some images of what a sustainable landscape looks like, because it can be many different things. I'm going to just go through a bit of a definition while we look at these images. First of all, a sustainable landscape conserves water, and we do that by planting plants that are adapted to our landscape, and really substituting lawn, which is very consumptive. We irrigate, we fertilize, we mow. When a landscape really can do many other things, provide habitat, be beautiful, be relaxing, create spaces for people, and sequester carbon. You know, the only way that we as individuals have really any effect on sequestering carbon is through planting. And this image here at the Minnetonka City Hall shows an area that was all mowed previous to this project. And with these native plants, there's a lot of carbon being sequestered and brought into the woody plants and into the soil. Next shot. So these are water conserving landscapes because of that. Who's advancing?
It's not me. Sebastian, if you could advance.
All right. So anyway, yeah, it's about bringing the right plant into the right environment. And always bring in, you don't go shopping. Here's a little advice for your landscape at home. Don't go shopping now and buy the prettiest plant. First, go look at where you're going to plant them, and look at the shade and how moist the soil is, and then go and shop and tell the people there, hey, I've got the shade that's really dry. What can I plant? Because there are plants that will grow there. And if you don't get those, you're just going to have to use a lot of water and fertilizer and pesticides to keep them alive. Next image. So also to capture water, we have so much water running off of hard surfaces. I'm working in Riley Purgatory Bluff Creek Watershed District now, which is just north of the Minnesota River. 25% of that whole watershed is paved, and 40% of it's in lawn. And so this is basically Eden Prairie and Chanhassen. So we have a lot of impact in what we do in our landscape. So we want to collect water off of the hard surfaces that we have, because it's a problem when it runs downstream. We flood other communities and we take pollutants with us. But if we can use it in our landscape, we don't have to irrigate. We can save energy there, and we can recharge groundwater, and a lot of other benefits too, like filtering. Next image. Next image. So just another image of that. And then, like I said, 40% of, one suburban neighborhood or watershed district is lawn. I think as we drove here and we see just how much lawn there is everywhere. And lawn is great. It's the best ground cover we have, where we're active and we use it. But where we don't use it, we shouldn't be growing it, honestly, because we're having a lot of problems with the chemicals that go down on them, the amount of fertilizer, and climate change. We need to stop burning as much fossil fuel. So you can plant native plants, or you can plant here at McAllister College where we worked. We used ornamentals. These are just plants that, again, really adapted to the conditions of that site, and they grow without a lot of extra tending. Next image. This is just another picture at a corporate campus where we designed, again, using more ornamental plantings, but you can, any plant that has that much vegetation above ground, especially grasses, they have really deep root systems that sequester a lot of carbon and then allow water to easily infiltrate into the ground. So when it does rain on it, it soaks into the ground. Next image. This is another one. Neatness is really important. And so one of the big obstacles to native landscapes is neatness. We're Midwesterns. We like neat and tidy landscapes. And so creating clean edges, next image too. I think I have, this is a project we did in Rochester at the university. If you can imagine on the left there, that prairie being brought all the way to the sidewalk, you know, it would look like an abandoned lot. People would not like it, even though it would be the best thing we could do because we're not mowing and it accommodates pollinators and all that stuff. But by the neatness of the lawn and that fence makes this very acceptable to society. So it's all about perception is reality. Next image. And then go to the next image right away. And this is just about creating outdoor space that we really, in all our landscapes, we want to create places for people to be and enjoy. And then I think I have one more image. Next one, another more, using urban spaces for that. And then the last one, we can also create habitat too. When we have, the monarch butterfly is probably about to get listed. The rusty patch bumblebee is an endangered species. Insect populations are crashing, which is really bad news for us. So we can do better in our landscapes and turn off the lawnmowers and stop putting down pesticides and fertilizers because there's some really beautiful alternatives.